Hello you guys, welcome back to another video. I'm Cheryl here at the Made on Sunday studio, and I talk all about branding, design, and creative entrepreneurship on this channel. So if you are building your own creative business right now, then be sure to subscribe to follow along. Now we are back with another monthly refresh. It is officially June, you guys, and I guess we are pretty much at the halfway point of this year, and wow, this year has just flown by and I cannot believe we are already in June. But in these videos, I typically kind of talk to you guys about what happened in my personal and business life in the previous month, May, and then I'll also be covering some of the things that are coming up in my life in the upcoming month of June. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Okay, so for the month of May, it was actually a super exciting and amazing month for me personally and for my business. After quite a few months, I think in my March update, my April update, it was a little bit of a downer because, as you know, if you're an entrepreneur, like entrepreneurship is just a season. There's just multiple seasons. Sometimes it'll be a great month or a great season. Sometimes it'll be a lower month or a lower season. And for me, March and April were kind of like a little bit more of a duller month. But May was a really big month for me personally and for my business. And I remember last month I kind of talked about or teased about how I have a surprise opportunity that came up to me in the month of May, and I can officially talk about it. And if you follow me on Instagram or any of my socials, other socials, you probably already saw it go live. But in the month of May, in celebration of API month, Asian and Pacific Islander month, SkillShare actually featured me, my classes, and my business all over their socials, their emails, on their platform. And they actually commissioned me to make an Instagram reel for them to talk about my heritage and how it has culturally made a difference in my business and my lifestyle that I've created today. And so if you haven't seen that reel yet, I would highly recommend go checking it out. It was actually like a really important reel for me, and I'll talk about it a little bit. If you want to like pause this video and just go watch it right now, I will put it in the links below so you can see that reel. But when you have watched that, you probably saw it was a day in the life of my typical kind of business day. And so, you know, when I filmed that, the prompt for the video was like how I was culturally inspired to create ease and calm in my business day. And I really struggled actually to answer that question because when you think about inspiration, you really think about, you know, what are the positive aspects of something that has really influenced you to do something. But there's actually another side of it. Actually, I feel like growing up culturally, being Asian, Chinese, Canadian, that Chinese side of myself has actually been with a lot of struggle. Like I talked about in my last video that I actually went to school in Hong Kong for 2 years of my life, kindergarten and grade 1. And I must say that those 2 years has dramatically changed who I am today in terms of my work ethic and how I see success. And growing up, I really saw success in the Asian community as super hard work, studying and you know, grinding and hustle culture, and all of that was really how I saw success, or how we really define success in that community. And I think that could work for some people, but for me, being a little bit more westernized and just growing up to kind of learning more about myself, my needs, wants, desires, and intentions in this life, and that just didn't work for me. And I tried it for a while, being in corporate for many, many years, trying to climb the ladder in brand management, but that just wasn't for me. And when I started this business, it was actually when I started to realize this freedom that came with entrepreneurship, with self-employment. Yes, still a lot of discipline, but overall, it's working towards a life where I design myself. That can include, my culture, as well as this calm lifestyle and building this more sustainable, slow business. And so the video that I created, the reel that I created, yes, it kind of is very happy and cheery and just kind of like very light and talks about like my day, my typical day in the life. And that is honestly very reflective of my true day in the life now. And that, looking at that video now, I'm like, wow, that was not always the case. I would say like even 3 years ago, before I started this business, like my life looked dramatically different. How I defined success was dramatically different. And so what I wanted to say in the video is culturally, actually, knowing that in Asian communities, hustle culture was such an important way to define success, that has actually inspired me to let go of that a little bit and redefine it. And so just kind of keep the elements that still work for me, and then kind of let go of the rest. So I don't know if you got that message from watching that reel, but there's only so much you can fit in a 60-second reel on Instagram. And so hopefully this little video explainer kind of gives you a little bit more insight into the meaning or thought behind that reel. Anyway, so that was extremely exciting to be featured by SkillShare. It's just such a dream come true, because I remember a few months ago, I actually started, looking at the SkillShare feed, and looking at the feed, I was like, man, oh my gosh, there's like such amazing teachers on that feed. There's some celebrities there and some really basically like internet celebrities there as well. And all of these people have such massive followings. And I just like imagine myself like, what if I was on this feed? Like, what if my face was featured on this feed? And a little part of me was like, you know what? I don't think that's really possible. I don't know how I would get my way into being featured in this space amongst all these amazing figures and educators. And I kind of just like let go of that idea to let it all like pan out. And maybe one day, it was like a dream of mine to be amongst these educators. And lo and behold, like a month later, SkillShare reached out, and that's why I was like crying to my partner, like, oh my gosh, I feel like I just like manifested this alive. And I know it seems really silly, but honestly, representation is super important, especially in this newer online business space. And to be recognized in this way is so important, and I'm just very grateful of the opportunity. So that was the big secret that I was teasing about last month. On top of that, actually, SkillShare has been a really great overall surprise for me this month. On top of being featured for API month, they also emailed me, I think like a few weeks after that, and told me that I have been selected to be a top teacher. So I don't know if you know, but SkillShare actually has two kind of like programs that they have created for the top percentage of teachers. The first kind of program that they created is called Teach Corps, which I was currently in. I think I was invited into that program pretty shortly, like a couple months ago. Honestly, I can't remember at what point I got invited into Teach Corps. I think it was end of last year. And then within Teach Corps, there's like, I think a couple hundred members there, and you get a coach and they kind of like help you with a Slack group, kind of give you resources, extra resources, and help you develop as a teacher. Kind of like potential top teachers are invited to that group. And then eventually, if they see potential in you and you've been creating great content, great quality content, they then kind of invite you into the top teacher group, which is apparently there's only about 180 top teachers right now. And I have been invited into the top teacher group. So wow, it was just like announcement after announcement, surprise after surprise, and I was just so excited. Now, you don't actually get paid necessarily to be in top teachers. Like, there's no necessarily financial reward immediately, but just being recognized as a top teacher, you get a little like top teacher badge on your profile, and that actually increases exposure a lot. And I feel like being in the top teachers group will actually give me a lot of leverage to get the eyes on my classes from the Skillshare team, hopefully securing more features of my classes in the future. So I'm really hoping that this is an actual great opportunity for exposure of my classes on Skillshare. And yeah, I'm gonna create like a whole separate video. If you guys have questions about these Skillshare teacher programs, feel free to leave it in the description below and I will answer any of your questions about that. Speaking of Skillshare, actually the month of May was my exact 1 year teaching anniversary on Skillshare. So it was a huge surprise that I was featured for API month and being upgraded to top teachers all in that 1 year anniversary month. And it was actually one of my highest revenue months. I think April was my highest revenue month. So that April payment was paid in May. So it was like a really great double whammy there. And yeah, that was Skillshare. Now, I actually have a very exciting sponsorship that reached out to me in the month of May as well. As you guys know, I've had this channel since 2020, so it's been 3 years now, and I've been slowly, very slowly growing it over the years. I'm being as dedicated as possible, kind of posting once a week to once every 2 weeks. And all of the content on this channel is completely free and in-depth tutorials for creative entrepreneurs like you. And so in those 3 years, the only money that I was making off of this channel was really AdSense. But in the month of May, I finally got my first like big company sponsorship. And so that video is going to be coming out most likely in June, so you'll find out who that sponsor is. But yeah, it was so exciting that I finally, I don't know, I feel like this is like the new chapter for my YouTube channel here. And so I just want to thank you guys so much for continually supporting my tutorials here. It means so much, and I hope it continues to be as helpful as it has been in the last 3 years. All right, on to really fun things. So actually for 2.5 weeks, so pretty much half of the month of May, my parents actually visited me from Vancouver for the very first time in Amsterdam. And so I've moved to Amsterdam pretty much at the beginning of my business. So end of 2019 is when I moved to Amsterdam as an expat. Originally, it was supposed to be just a 2-year thing, and then obviously everyone knows what happened afterwards. And so our timelines have lengthened, so I am still here and loving here. And last month, my parents actually visited me for the first time, and so they stayed with me. We were able to travel together, and we just spent so much great quality time together. We took the train to Belgium and saw Brussels and Ghent, ate so much food and chocolate and had like the best fries and mussels. And then back in Amsterdam, we also like went to all the kind of local spots that I love to go to during the spring summer season. So we headed to the beach and went to the markets, had like brunch and just like my normal walks around the park with coffee and all of my favorite like kind of green spaces or parks around Amsterdam. So they really, really enjoyed. Oh, and we also went on a boat ride. Obviously, you have to do that when you come to Amsterdam. And so, yeah, I just really, it's those moments in time when I'm like, wow, I can't believe that I can just take pretty much 2.5 weeks off of work. Not completely. I was kind of working when we go home and take a rest. I would work those hours, and then at night, sometimes I would work an hour or two. Yeah, and on weekends, sometimes I would work a little bit here and there while they were here. But essentially, my time was completely flexible and I was able to take all the time off I needed to spend that quality time with my parents. And so I just feel incredibly grateful that I've finally been able to create a business where, in fact, this month of May was one of my highest revenue months in my business so far, and yet I still was able to take 2.5 weeks off to spend time with my family and loved ones. So I just feel so grateful, and like I feel like I've like really am now able to experience that life that I've always meant to create for myself by creating this business. So yeah, May was incredible. All right, so that was May. June is coming up now, and for June and for the rest of the summer period, I am actually working on a bigger project, a new, exciting, probably revenue stream and project for my business. It's pretty big and it's going to be quite time consuming. And so I think for the most of the summer period, that's going to be what I'm spending my time on. And I've already talked about this many times, but in the last year and this year of my business, I am trying to prepare for motherhood. And being a business owner, you don't get mat leave. Well, you can create your own mat leave, but I don't have a company to pay for my mat leave. And in Amsterdam, the maternity leave pay from the government is extremely low, and it's not really an income that I can live off of. And it's also very, very short. And so in order to be able to create maternity leave for myself in preparation for motherhood, hopefully in the future, I'm trying to diversify my business revenue streams so that I can, take it a little bit easy as I ease into hopefully motherhood in the future. And so everything that I'm working on and kind of put time into in the last 2 years have been for this reason. They're all long-term investments, hopefully a bit more passive and less time-consuming for myself. Momentary hard work for kind of long-term success is what I'm hoping for here. And so I'm not going to talk too much about the details about it because I'm still in the planning phase. But as I start kind of formulating the strategy and the bigger idea behind this product, I'm going to hopefully be able to share a little bit more with you guys so that maybe you can help me in development of this project as well. And so, I think this month of June will be a lot of strategizing and just making sure that I think this through so that I execute it in a way that is different in the market and also like true to my intentions for the business, and then I'll be able to actually start implementing well into the summer times. This week though is very exciting. I have quite a few actually discovery calls with new branding and website clients, and so I'm gonna start pre-booking my whole month of my whole summer months up until August now. And so if you are looking to refresh your brand identity, create a new brand, maybe you have a new business starting, or if you need a new website refresh or just new website in general. If you are a service-based business, most of my clients are copywriters, coaches, other service-based providers, like educators or even content creators. And yeah, you're hoping to refresh your brand and website for this summer, then be sure to reach out to me now. I'm gonna leave the links of my services page for all of my brand and website intensives, as well as full experience packages down below in the description, so you can check those out. And be sure to reach out soon, because I have a lot of discovery calls coming up in the next week or two, and so I can schedule like more into these 2 weeks and start pretty much booking up for the rest of the summer. So yeah, be sure to reach out if you're hoping to work with me soon. The other thing that I am also really looking forward to is in 2 weeks, I will be going on a little week getaway with my husband to the Gran Canaria Islands in Spain. And so both of us have never been there before, but I don't know about you guys, after watching White Lotus last year, we were obsessed with the show and we're like, oh my gosh, I need to go to an all-inclusive resort. I just want to sit by the pool, read my book, drink a little fancy drink, and like eat some fries and I don't know, nachos or something by the waters, or maybe even hang out on the beach. So after that, we're like, let's book a resort. And obviously we couldn't afford the ones in Italy that were on White Lotus, but you know what? The ones in Gran Canaria were a little bit more affordable. And so we were able to book a little, I think like a 5-day getaway or something that's coming up in 2 weeks. And so I am so excited. And yeah, so that's gonna be a great little like relaxer for me. And I know like last month I already took some time off to be with my family, but let's be honest, like hosting and having your parents live at your place for 2 weeks, not necessarily a vacation. It was super fun and like great quality time, but not a vacation, right? I think we can all agree to that. And so this will be kind of our refresher and break, and kind of like a true vacation where we just like lay around, eat, and just read a book and just hang out with each other. And so I'm very much looking forward to that. But yeah, that's pretty much June for me. There's that sponsorship video that's gonna be coming up later this month as well. And I'm just excited. I feel like, you know, this is a great reminder that there are those highs and those lows in entrepreneurship. And it's so important that we, as entrepreneurs, especially as an entrepreneur in the first 5 years, I feel like in entrepreneurship, you really have to view, especially your revenue, in longer periods. Like instead of looking at your income like month to month, I think it's a lot easier to kind of look at your revenue like quarter to quarter, because some months will just be a little bit slower, could be seasonal thing, could just be like, you know, for whatever reason. And then some months will be higher. And at the end of the day, they might just kind of balance out a little bit if you calculate it by the quarter. And so don't freak out if one month was a little lower, because that just means, you know, another month might be a little bit higher to kind of bring in that average. And so this is my reminder for myself that I am in a high month right now, but that's kind of to overcompensate for those lower months that I had before. And so, yeah, I am just happy that I have that insight now. And it's another reminder to myself that that is exactly what is happening in my business. And so hopefully that is, if you need a reminder yourself, this is your reminder. All right, so I'm gonna wrap up this video here. Honestly, I am excited for the months coming up. It is finally summertime. Things are getting warmer here in Amsterdam, and I hope it is as well wherever you are watching this from. Hey, let me know in the comments below what you're working on during the summertime for your business. Are you taking it a few steps back and just relaxing this summer? Or are you going to be planning a new project like I am? What are you up to this summer for your business, and how do you like to spend your time? Let me also know if you're going on any vacation spots. For the most of summer, we are actually staying in Amsterdam, and so I wouldn't mind doing a little weekend getaway somewhere. So let me know where you guys are heading to, and yeah, I'm excited to kind of connect with you there. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.